everybody, what's happening? Hey, Mega 405 coming to you live in the evening time. What's going on with you, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here. I haven't done an evening podcast or streaming gaming thing since the last GRG, which was like in August. Good grief, this is nuts. But I had a wild hair up the tail, and so I'm like, you know what, pause. And so anyway, and then besides this, after this, I'm probably gonna go gambling. So I just was like, you know what? Because I was waiting to go play some Indiana Jones. I thought I could get it a little bit early, but I have to wait. So I'll get it here, I'm sure, sometime later on tonight or early morning or whatever. So I was going to show some gameplay to that, but that's okay. Anyway, I'm here. Next phase, I'm hearing you right from the get. So I'll start off with this. With the very first topic that I have on here was talking about Sara Bond. And next phase, it says, Kim, again, this is true. Sara Bond is the villain of epic proportions. In my eyes, she has alienated some of the most hardcore money-spending fans to chase casual and multi-console dollars. Xbox exclusive content has been anemic, and most of it has been niche or mediocre. When you are in third place for market share, you need to give people great experiences to bring them over, like indie. And he's like, oh, wait, that is a multi-plat. And I'm even seeing their PlayStation Square controller icons and promos. I wish we had a Balmer, ruthless Xbox chief, true or not. We hear Halo or Gears could go over there. Well, okay, listen. All right, so with what you're saying already, that's the premise, that's the take, that's the mindset. I totally understand that. I'm not mad at that. I agree with a lot of that. But to call Sara Bond the villain of epic proportions, I can't co-sign that. Not only because I'm a Sara Bond fan, but I'm a Phil Spencer fan. And my whole point to that is, look, if you're going to blame Sara Bond, that's fine. But you also have to blame Satya, Phil Spencer. Forget the lady's name that does the checks and balances, that does the budgets for Xbox. She as well. Mad Booty. I mean, like, these guys are all in this together. So it's not one person that could just be looked at and vilified as a person that is done wrong. Now, again, this is the one thing when people are making decisions, these people that's in these seats, not all of them are going to bat 1,000. As somebody who is a diehard Phil Spencer supporter, and felt like he has saved Xbox, especially from the ridiculous moves that Don Matrick did towards the end of to kind of already set the doom for the Xbox One. He saved Xbox. There's no question about it. But Phil hasn't bat 1,000 either. So, none of these people have done this. I mean, the only stretch that you could look at that where it's been untouchable is when you go back to that era where PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, where they were going on, just going crazy on all cylinders, and Nintendo during the Nintendo saving gaming and taking it all the way until they got to the GameCube. Like, I mean, the GameCube was their down, well, not the downfall, but their down moment. The PlayStation 3 was PlayStation's down moment. So listen, and I'm a big fan of Jack Tretton. So what up, man? What's up with you, Michael Turner? And listen, that's the thing to me is where, like, Big Bad Mo, that's what I'm saying. What's up with you, Michael? What's up going on with you, Big Bad Mo? That's the thing to me. It's like, look, when I did my video, my live stream the other day, I hit up Phil and I was just like, look, man, I'm not a fan of this. I'm just not. But you guys are the ones sitting in the rooms looking at where the money's coming from, how the money's being allocated. You see things well before we as the gamers get to, but when these games drop, there's already other moves that's being made. It's just no different than how movie industry operates or any other business. Like, they're so far ahead than what we perceive. And so there's something that Xbox has seen. It was just no different than back in 2016. Remember that there were so many gamers that would say, oh, now see, Xbox is irrelevant, this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 and blah, blah. Now nobody don't even care about Xbox being on PC. If Xbox direction stays like this, nobody will care at the end of the day as long as Xbox is still relevant. And when I'm listening to what Next Phase is bringing up about where he says the market share, a third place, and for the market share, they're fighting for, for competition, but yet they're making niche and mediocre games. Again, we're just looking at Indiana Jones getting good ratings. But I guess that doesn't matter because it's not what that individual likes, what Xbox is doing. While PlayStation fans, on the other hand, were adamant about games not going to PC, games not going to other platforms, and you see that happening. Well, now it's turned from, thank you for buying these PlayStation games on PC and giving more revenue to PlayStation. It was no different than when I was saying this back to PlayStation fans when they were buying games off of PC and then those that was alleging that they had these high budget, high end PCs that they didn't. But regardless, obviously it worked. Sony and I've said this, Sony will not make a move just out of the blue. They will make a move if they see that there's potential behind making money doing it. Xbox just was the first ones to do it and usually get the scrutiny, and we just move forward to that, while Sony could just do it and then it's like, oh, this is genius. Sara can be looked at as being diabolical for making this move, but again, she has bosses. And that's, to me, is where the problem lies, is where the article that came from Tom Warren that kind of just put it in perspective of like, oh, this was all her, strong black woman just kind of pushing, weak white men into making decisions that she wanted. And that, to me, is the bullshit that I want to debunk and get that out of the way. Because again, especially when you're looking at stuff on Twitter X, man, it's the grifters are all on anything that has anything to do, especially with black women, DEI, anything like that, because that's just where they want to, that's just a little stupid ass movement that's happening right now. Just don't make any sense. But they have bosses. And Phil made that pivot. So obviously Phil's seen something, even though he may not wanted to do it. Maybe Matt Booty didn't want to do it. Maybe Sarah Bond didn't even want to do it. But when it came down to making the decisions, it is what it is. And now let's take this back too, because there was articles that was going on while Sarah Bond was doing this work, that work. Phil Spencer was like, man, you just handle it. Take it over. I'm finna go play games. Now, I don't know how accurate that is. Like, I don't know, but I didn't hear too many people complaining about that. Now, granted, I haven't listened to a lot of podcasts because, I've taken my hiatus or whatever. But I haven't seen a lot of people complaining about that Phil would go do this and Sarah Bond would be doing the leg work. And obviously, if she felt that if she was going to do the lead work, she think that this is the opportunity for her to make this happen. And also Phil put trust in her to do it. Listen, we can't sit here in 1 minute vilify this woman on just this issue and make it like that this is her putting the end to Xbox when she is giving us some of the greatest game lineups and one of the greatest like game, it ain't an invention, but one of the game, the gaming, just Game Pass, right? Like Game Pass is genius. Now, EA was kind of the first ones to I guess you could go all the way back to Sega when they tried to attempt it, but it was only regional and it just failed. It didn't, I didn't know anything about it in, old countrified Oklahoma back in the 90s. We were just now dealing with dial-up. So like when it was out there, they started off in the West Coast, didn't know anything about Sega doing anything like that by trying to have a streaming service or something of that nature to where you could play games off of your console. And then PlayStation had an opportunity to do something, but PlayStation is greedy and they do dumb shit. And so therefore you got what you have now, which a lot of PlayStation fans don't really care about. I'm sure that it's viable to some PlayStation fans because if they don't have access to a lot of games, that they can at least have games to play off of the service. But EA was really the one that kind of sparked this and got this ball rolling. And people were saying that this was unsustainable, right? Like EA Access was unsustainable. This isn't going to last. This isn't going to work, especially with the lineup of games that at the time that EA had, because EA didn't really have a good library of games, right? So it's wild to me that, like, I'm going to get back to this point to where he's talking about third place and the market share and that they're not bringing this and that. Like, okay, when this man is talking about mediocre, right? Like, I gotta kind of push back on that. Like, because I'm like, you're saying mediocre, but I'm over here trying to look at some of these lineups from Game Pass that's dropping, which is Indiana Jones. Let's even take it back. Call of Duty. I mean, go even before that. You got Age of Mythologies, which is a really good game. Got high marks. If you care about ratings and stuff like that. You got Starfield, that they had the expansion. Starfield got a mixed review. I thought the Shattered Spaces is good. I haven't finished it yet. I was expecting a little bit more, but it's still Starfield. Starfield is an amazing game. So there you go. But it got, like I said, mixed reviews. Then you go and you look and see in Call of Duty, and then you got Stalker 2. Then you got Indiana Jones that's going to be dropping, which I thought I would be playing it already, like, and get that gameplay out to y'all while I was doing this stream, but it didn't happen yet, so I'll play it later. And then you're going to have Avowed. You're going to get South by Midnight. And then you're going to get Atomic Falls. Like, I mean, just listen to that diversity. Like, how is that mediocre, or how is that niche? Like, again, that sounds like great variety of what gamers has been asking for. And you owe Sara Bond that level of just saying, of respect, of saying, thank you for giving me this. Now, again, like I said, if you want to scrutinize her for wanting to do this Xbox everywhere thing, anywhere thing, by all means, that's fine. I'm not here to tell you that you can't scrutinize the woman. What I'm telling you, though, is that it's a give and take as well. So if you're going to scrutinize her, you better scrutinize Phil, you better scrutinize Sadia, you better scrutinize Matt Booty, you better scrutinize everybody that's in that staff that sit there and gave it the green light, especially Phil Spencer. So who is the most diabolical? Listen, is it the woman that does the checks and balances that says, look, Xbox has got to make this money back from the ABK deal? Is it Satya that says, listen, we're going to make as much money as we possibly can? Is it Phil? Is it Matt? Or is it just Sarah? It just isn't Sarah. And to me, it's not no different than what Phil does, that I feel that sometimes he gets over criticized for stuff that, like I said earlier, he sees well before we do. And so I find, like, so I just don't understand how people can point a finger at one, but don't point the finger at all. Like, this is an Xbox problem if you have a problem with it. If you don't, then there's nobody at fault. This is just the direction that they're moving. Like, so, and Xbox can pivot right back to saying, look, we had a vision of doing this Project Latitude thing and no red lines. And now we've seen that we can do a little bit of both, but we'll keep more games in-house. Or, they could do whatever they want to. Like, this is crazy to me. Sony pivots all the time. And you know what? And gamers will get pissed off, and then, you know what? The PlayStation fan base will jump on those gamers that are pissy about stuff, and then it gets quiet, and then we move on. My thing is this. As long as Xbox is giving us content that we can sit there and sink our teeth into, like I said, I sit there and told Phil personally that I wasn't a fan of this move. I'm not. I'm just not. But I'm an old traditionalist. I am used to the old way of how gaming is, and gaming is not the same. I've repeated this, and I will continue to repeat this. Gaming is nowhere near the same. It's changed right before our eyes. And nothing is going to be the same here going in the future. I mean, one thing that I wanted to talk about, that was I think it was about a month or so ago, but I just never got the chance to, was talking about, like, I seen that David was bringing up the stuff about PlayStation was thinking about extending the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation Pro for until until the 2030s of some sort. Like whoa. Now remember, in the beginning when we was talking about the generations, I did say that I felt that this generation would go long like the 360 and the PlayStation 3 generation. And then it seemed like that there was going to be a lot of movement, a lot of these rumors, and a lot of stuff going on about different consoles, stuff like that. So I kind of just stopped talking about that. But if that's the case, then right. And then with Sean Layton, which I'll get into after I get finished talking about this topic, it's also alluding to is that like all this stuff about things is unsustainable and games is costing all this money and consoles and the power aspect and all of this. It all boils down to a vision that Xbox has taken that is very aggressive, very different, and it doesn't seem like it's competitive. But if the numbers come in and Xbox is getting more and more of that market share and still being third place with the consoles, which I did say that this would be their winning ticket, not thinking that they would put games on other platforms, like Nintendo and well, I didn't mind the Nintendo situation, but PlayStation for sure. Didn't think that. But I mean, if, let's just say Indiana Jones, right? It does decent, gets a lot of eyes on it, a lot of people playing it through Game Pass. You know, it's got decent enough sales or whatever through Xbox, and then it blows up on PlayStation. Well, then that's crazy for Xbox in a positive way for all of us, because that's more stuff that's more money that's going to be generated into, maybe there's going to be another Indiana Jones. There's going to be money generated for more games going on to Game Pass. There's going to be more money generated for innovation, for games that maybe we've been asking for that could go into a budget to start a sequel to something. Like it there's so many advantages to it that even I had to make put my mind in a different perspective of like, you know what, listen, I don't get it. I think that Xbox can compete without putting games on PlayStation. But when you look at the situation of where Xbox is just not selling their consoles at the level that they used to, how are people going to get those games? Well, you can say PC and mobile. Well, the mobile market thing is not even happening yet, and they're still got to go through litigation dealing with Apple and their BS. So I mean, and you can do stuff with Android, but the cloud and the way that they're implementing with the mobile thing is just not fully implemented yet. So maybe they're waiting to get all that stuff, all their ducks in a row. Maybe have a better launcher for Xbox themselves, for Xbox on PC, before they might change and pivot and go back and saying, look, we'll just go back to case by case basis. Who knows? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just, what's going on with your Try Hard fan? What's going on with your Caliber? You know what I'm saying? Let me see what Bat says. I will not tolerate the slander of my baby's mama, Sara Bond. She knows what she's doing, and it was a collective decision. Exactly. That's my whole point. It's like, listen, I'm not telling you that you can't sit there and be upset at Sara Bond. Like, this woman's making enough money. She knows what she's doing. She's highly qualified, and she knows the game. She's been in it now long enough to know that there's going to be people that's going to scrutinize her. I'm sure that Phil, Matt Booty, and others will definitely coach her up. If not, she already knew from what she did in other businesses, for where people just get pissed off and then they just talk with emotion and they're angry and they're pissed off to change. So that part I'm not tripping about. What I don't like is the fact that article from Tom Warren just came out singling out Sara Bond as the culprit of this new swing when she has bosses. Like, if she's the head of Xbox, then by all means she's got to take the good with the bad. But she's a member of this team, and therefore, as just like what Big Man Mo said, is like it's a collective. And so Phil has to take this L if you think it's an L. Matt Booty has to take this L. Satya has to take this L. That whole group that sat there and signed off and says, let's do it. Let's go ahead and, make do the ad for Xbox Anywhere. It's a collective. So that's my part about it. That's my main thing about that is it's kind of like, pump the brakes. This isn't about, what I'm saying? We're not going to villainize Sarah Bond when Sarah Bond is done. I mean, again, you can't sit there and villainize her as just being this person now all of a sudden that is just the destruction of Xbox. Remember how many people used to say that about Phil? And as many times as I said, I stood on and I still stand on in Phil we trust. It didn't look good at certain points. It didn't look like anything was going to happen the way it's supposed to. The VR thing, that was a pivot. That was you could call it a lie, a pivot, or whatever, a misdirection, misinformation, whatever the hell you want to call it. But we still don't have VR. I personally don't care about VR like that, but I know a lot of people do. These things happen throughout the industry. It's no different than Yoshida talking about and Andrew House and others that was bringing up the fact of who plays old games. And look how many people that keeps on bringing up about Bloodborne. Not a new Bloodborne, just Bloodborne. How many people keep bringing up about old PlayStation Classic? Come on now. Sometimes we as people that enjoy these games, that digest this content or information, we get too caught up into listening to everybody else that doesn't care about what we care about. That's something that I've had to learn a long time ago. Like, these people can sit there and talk like they care about what's going on with Xbox. They don't. They want to know the information about Xbox so they can use it to slander it, so they can look and make them boast up about PlayStation or Nintendo or PC or whatever else. As Xbox gamers, we have too many people that wants to be a part of it all and be liked by everybody, and it's not gonna happen. It's just not. It's just not. So you got to be true to what you do, and there's a lot of content creators that's pro Xbox that has shown that they are not. And it's not saying that if you have a disagreement with something that you point that out, but the levels of some of these people that where they have an issue 1 month and then the next month, oh, praise Xbox, then the next month after that, Xbox sucks, I'm done, I'm finna sell my Xbox. You know what? I'll tune them out, unfollow, mute. Who cares, right? Deadpool, what's going on? He says the narrative goal post movers is who I'm talking about. Love Sarah Bond and K Mega. You're right. Can't single out one person when the industry is heading in that way. Right. Like that is, and I wanted to kind of just keep it mostly focused, even though I've brought up PlayStation and Nintendo, but I mostly wanted to keep it focused on just the Xbox aspect of it because of the fact that there's too many people that are single-handedly just bringing her down, trying to bring her down, knowing that she might be the next head of Xbox, and that's already trying to taint her and saying that she's not qualified for it when she's damn sure qualified for it because she has been giving us more and more and more greatness to the Xbox franchise, to the Xbox division than we have seen in some degrees ever. Listen, Phil Spencer has been a part of Xbox for a very long time. And when Phil Spencer took over, he was having a very hard time getting those Japanese games or those games from the East to come over to Xbox, right? Sarah Bond comes in here and look, we have more games from the East than we've ever had. And that's going back to when Xbox was bringing in quite a few Eastern titles from the 360 and from the OG Xbox. Like, we get more than we've ever got. Because when you get games that's never touched an Xbox before from the East or from anywhere, that's showing you that her work is valid. And it's also helped make Phil be better at communicating and talking with people. And maybe Matt Booty. I don't know exactly what Matt Booty does. I'm pretty sure that I know what he does, but I'm saying in the sense of, like, when he goes travel, does he go travel with them? Does he just keeps himself internally doing what's going on with Xbox with the game division aspect and want to get games out on time and stuff like that? But I'm saying with Phil and Sarah Bond, they make a great team, and it looks and Sarah's learning from Phil and Phil is learning from Sarah. Just that simple. Just that simple. And no, it's not, again, none of these CEOs bat 1,000. We can look back at every CEO that's been a part of all these gaming companies, and they have made mistakes down the line that when you look back in retrospect and say, damn, they could have did this and it could have been could have happened. It's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the future of where gaming is totally different. It's not nowhere near the same. That's why I said the other day, the console war is over. It's been over. It was over once. It was over once Xbox decided to say, look, this is it. It was over also when PlayStation decided to start putting their games on PC. It's over. We got PlayStation games on Nintendo. Come on, man. It's the console war aspect has gotten corny and stale. It used to be fun. It's not nothing what it used to be anymore because everybody is pivoting. Everybody, it was going to be, well, it don't matter because PlayStation games is not going to come to PC until 4 or 5 years from now. Man, it's getting shorter and shorter. And some games is even day and day. And the PlayStation fan, well, not so. The PlayStation fan and the PlayStation stand had to adjust. Well, that's a multiplayer game. That's the same shit that we were saying back in 2016, 2017. So again, it's just the nature of the beast. Now, the one thing that I will say that I will still stand on, that I agree with Next Zero and others out there, is just like, listen, there should be no red lines at all when it comes to Halo, Gears, Forza, and I say Starfield. I am deep in my hearts and hearts. I say Hellblade. I know the Hellblade was on PlayStation before, but I know Hellblade is rumored to go to PlayStation. So, pie in the sky. And I also put that as Killer Instinct as well. Those games and Oblivion and well, it would be Oblivion. I guess it would be what is that game called? Elder Scrolls. Games like that, lock them down. Keep them yours. The Blade game, this is Disney. Disney wants their money. So, and then there's a rumor going on that Wolverine could be a timed exclusive. Don't know how real that could be. I mean, I would know Sony would fight tooth and nail, but listen, Sony and Disney's over there eyeing Sony real suspect about the Spider-Man situation. They definitely are. Marvel wants Spider-Man for themselves. They want him back. And Sony has to keep up. And then there's these if you follow stuff from the movie industry or whatever, that's Spider-Man there has to be a Spider-Man movie every so many years, and it has to be a script out, and it has to be brought at a time. It has to make so much money. The same with the games, blah blah blah. The third, right? And Sony's been behind on that script or something of that nature with the Spider-Man movie. And if that breaches contract, lawyers is already on standby. That's what's been said in the movie space. I have no full knowledge of that. I'm just going by what I've been listening to on the internet. So from people that are movie people. So whatever. But the case may be or whatever. It's just that Disney wants their money. Disney's been having a hard time in certain places. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's a great thing with Deadpool and Wolverine, which is fantastic. I've watched it twice at the theaters and even bought it here during the sale, during the Xbox Black Friday sale. Yeah, I mean, good stuff, but it's about money. So I just don't say, so I can see the Blade game could definitely be something, maybe a timed exclusive like this. Like Indiana Jones or whatever. But listen, anything that that has something to do with Disney other than Spider-Man, and I even think that after Spider-Man, I mean, that they got the X-Men and things like that, and I know X-Men is going to be hot, but if the money isn't coming like that, those games will sell, but they got to sell at they got these expectations. So anyway. And Xbox has got the same type of situation going on with them. They put all their chips in for the ABK deal. They got expectations over there. They want to make this money. COD is definitely going to make the money. Diablo is going to make the money. Overwatch is going to make the money. There's going to be plenty of games that's going to be over there that's going to make money, but there's going to be games that we want from Activision, from the ABK, that probably won't be making the money. So there has to be other entities that got to bring that money in. So if Sarah Bond's looking at this situation and she's telling her team, look, we got this idea, that, this, that, and the third, and this is an option. Well, Phil has got to be the one to say, all right. And then if Phil sits there and is reluctant and saying, nah, I don't like this, and then it goes over his head, and let's just say that the person that checks the money and saying, look, the budgets, and say, I kind of like it. We need to take it to the big man. And if you know what I'm saying, if Papa Satya says it's a go, ain't nobody gonna sell him no. They can sit there and push back. But if he says, nah, I think this is the way to go, we'll just change the game. Who's gonna tell Papa Satya that he's wrong? I mean, not wrong, but that he can't get what he wants when he's the head of Microsoft. So again, all people involved can be blamed for this. I hope that there are some red lines when it comes to Halo, Gears, and Forza, Starfield, but it might not. And it'll eventually come to a thing to where I won't do this. I won't. But there will be people that will. Once Xbox market share starts really, because they're on Sony's ass. They're like, I mean, when you look at it from like a billion, like a billion way or something like that, or something like that. I mean, compared to the trajectory of where it was last generation to where Xbox is, they're on Sony's ass. And they'll eventually catch and surpass them when it comes to that market share at some point. It's just there. So then you'll have those people that look at this. Xbox has got the market. I thought you was just bitching about their putting their games on PlayStation or Nintendo. Of course, they're going to be making a lot of money because there's going to be so many people playing these games. And then, of course, Xbox, this opens up a brand new opportunity for Game Pass, could maybe launch on a Nintendo or something like, who knows? It never will come on PlayStation. That'll be the end of PlayStation if Game Pass ever dropped on PlayStation. The only way that I could see Game Pass ever coming on PlayStation is if Microsoft owns PlayStation. That's how I feel about that. It'll never happen. But again, I just think that it's just crazy. Viper, what's up with you, brother? Hope you're getting ready for next week. The last GRG next Friday. He says Sony has already breached the contract. Oh. So yeah, that's crazy. Expect to see Spider-Man on Xbox after Disney gets full control. Oh, no question. No question. And do you think Sony's going to stop? Is going to pull Insomniac back and say, nah, we ain't letting the Insomniac. No, Sony's going to sit there and be pissed off about it, but Sony will sit there and it will rake in the riches. You know how many people will be buying Spider-Man or Wolverine or the X-Men games day one with PlayStation gamers? It will be nuts. And then those games will be on Nintendo as well. Man, come on now. Come on. Stop it. All right, brother. I'm glad that you'll be there. I'll hit you guys up probably this weekend. See all who's coming, things like that. J-Mac, what's happening with you, brother? He says these so-called Xbox content creators have fallen victim to the toxicity towards Xbox. They just have a different spin. Love games, not plastic, brother. That's exactly what it is. Like, I mean, you see, when I did my last stream the other day, I'm just showing the same stream, but you know what? I'm doing all this talking, and I ain't even got my name on here no more. I don't know. I gotta find it. Oh, where's my overlay? See if it pops back up here. I don't know. Anyway. I just now noticed that. I usually have the K-Mega 405 in that little slot, but I don't know. I did something corny. Fat finger something. But whatever. Oh, there it is. There's his back. All right, so that's my thing about the whole situation with the Xbox thing. I do want to read this because I do think that Slow-Mo hit the hammer on the nail 100%. I want to read this whole thing because this was perfectly said. I couldn't have said it any better. He says this about the whole Sarah Bond situation. He says, I will say for those who know this to be how things are, but feel unable to speak their minds because they don't want to jeopardize their position. Phil Spencer can mess up and inflate numbers. I'm sorry. I'm not saying inflate. Sorry, let me read this properly. Phil Spencer can mess up an infinite number of times, and many will forgive him in high esteem. Say he can be criticized, defends him when he flip flops, even when Doing so makes this look foolish and never suggest he should pass the baton to run Xbox to anyone else. Now, I have heard people that sit there and have that diehard Xbox fans, especially when this move was being talked about last year, that they wanted Phil to step down and give it to somebody else, but not to the degree of what, I get what he's saying on that. He says, but the first time Sarah Bonham attempts to make changes, she has to stake her professional reputation on it. Right. That's where I have the problem with this article from Tom Warren. Like, that to me is bullshit. It's bullshit. It is absolute bullshit to me. He says it's like the black NFL head coaches at one time, where they had one shot at the position and rarely got second chances, while their white counterparts got multiple opportunities to lose. We see this mentality is prevalent in each aspect of America. There is zero grace for a black woman in corporate America, and oftentimes they aren't put in those positions to succeed in the first place. You know what? Brother spoke real 100% goddamn facts. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to take it a little bit further with that, because there was a whole thing there, and I don't know if there's still people that do that talk about that PlayStation was the black people console. PlayStation don't have a black person on their staff. Xbox is the only company that I know of. I don't know if Sega had any black people on their staff, but if they did, and I'm sure that they had some people on the staff at some point, in some position, but not in a high position like what Xbox just did. They put this sister at a very high position. And again, when they started to do it, this was the first time that I even heard of DEI. There was this, I don't know, this PlayStation dude that sit there and said that Sarah Bond, this was back in 2019, it was the first time I heard it. And I was like, what is this dude going? And I just knew that he was going to say something negative about Sarah Bond. And I was going to record it and use it for GRG, but then I was like, no, because he was too foul with it. He was like, Sarah Bond's hot, but she's just a DEI, just a person. She's not qualified. She's just a pretty what? And I didn't want to get the ladies mad. I didn't want to get the ladies hot and bothered and get crazy. But I sit there and I saw that and I said, I'll be damned. And so now here we are with this type of bullshit where this woman is highly qualified. She's doing a damn good job while you're sitting there can't wait to play Indiana Jones. You're playing Stalker too. You give that credit to Sarah Bond. You give the credit to Phil Spencer for allowing this to happen, but whose idea was it? Sarah Bond's. You give the credit to Sadia for saying, you go ahead, let's see what you got. You give the credit for Matt Booty for going ahead and working and getting these games to get pushed out, right? So it's a team, it's collective. So all of that is still a collective, but Sarah Bond is the mastermind behind it. And so if you're going to sit there and you're going to ridicule this woman, then you better sit there and ridicule everybody else as well. That's my whole point on that, and he's absolutely right. Another factor, too, is that it's just like when he was talking about with the sports. I can remember Tony Dungy with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Got that team rolling. But nobody's going to remember who won that Super Bowl with that team that was Tony Dungy's. It was Chucky. They call him Chucky. Gruden. Who got that team? That was Dungy's team, who built that team. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers was one of the worst franchises in NFL history. Just losing. Tony Dungy got that team working, popped up, and then look what happened. Same thing happened in the NBA with Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson built the Golden State Warriors to who they are. He's the one that brought in the Splash Brothers. He's the one that sit there and got that dirty ass villain, Draymond Green. He's a dog. I would love him to be on the Thunder. Don't look, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a dog. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? He built that team. They gave it to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr gets all the accolades. Because Mark Jackson is a different type of coach. He's no nonsense. He's not player friendly. And as you can see, and you're going forward, you're looking at seeing Steve Kerr is becoming more and more a disgruntled old coach. So, anyway, it's pretty funny. But I mean, it's like Lovie Smith with the Bears. Hell, the last time the Bears was relevant was Lovie Smith, and they sent him on. He took him to the Super Bowl to lose to Tony Dungy and the Colts. And they send them on. Same thing happened with the Lions. They sit there and the Lions was trash and garbage. I think his name was Cornell. Sit there and got that team to be good, and then next thing you know, they sit there and they brought the supposed to be prodigy from Belichick, and he ran the Lions right back down into the dirt. And now they got a really good coach, and then they picked up young Gosling as Jared Goff. I call him young Gosling because he looks like that actor Ryan Gosling. And I call him Young Gosling. And so, you know what I'm saying, which I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Goff. I mean, he to me, you know, once a Ram, always a Ram. You know what I'm saying? So I hope he gets to the Super Bowl. I hope he gets his ring, unless he's playing my Rams, which, you know. But other than that, I just, my thing is just, that is the thing. And it goes even further and deeper than that, because you have all these people, these incels and all these crazy ass grifters talking about who can't do this, who can't do that. They're going after Grand Theft Auto 6. It doesn't make, none of this shit makes any sense. Like I said, the 616 timeline right now is all over the place. It's garbage right now. But we'll persevere. We'll get through it as gamers, as people, hopefully. But anyway, let me read this. And J-Mac says Xbox is playing a different type of game. Absolutely. They're showing the industry that gaming has outgrown the PlayStation. It absolutely is. And that goes for me to go into that, because I just wanted to give a shout out to Slow Mo for that, because I thought that was fantastic. I had to read that. Denny Green. Denny Green. Yep, forgot about Denny Green. I mean, there's so many stories about that, especially in the NFL, right? And just in other sports as well. But I mean, it's not only just in sports, but it's also in business and everything else. But in gaming, this is, man, come on, man. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see that woman in this prominent role, or any woman in a prominent role where it's male dominated the way that it is, and kick ass at doing the job, of course she's going to have mistakes. Of course she's going to make moves that some of us is not going to like. But like you said, J-Mac, Xbox is moving in a whole nother direction. Xbox has been trying. We've read these articles and these Stanford Heard behind the lines and everything else, talking to different people and strategists and stuff like that. And that's what Xbox has been trying to go, is trying to kill the console war, trying to get out of that, because they know that they'll never beat Nintendo or PlayStation when it comes to console sales. They just won't. Xbox's best opportunity to beat the PlayStation didn't happen. Now, was the 360 a much better console, and it was much more beloved than the PlayStation 3? Absolutely. But there goes to regional issues, and one thing that I kept seeing that other people was bringing up about, like, Xbox has a big problem, which they're trying to get better at, is where, you know, like the translation, the to where they make these games and they don't have the maybe a Asian actor a voiceover doing the voiceovers for the games and stuff like that. So I forget what the terminology is properly called, but stuff like that. So Xbox is finally doing that. So there's been a lot of really big, and I think if they was having games that were doing those type of things and doing better and reaching out to the East and bringing in even more games for the East, the 360 would have dog walked the PlayStation 3, dog walked, and probably sold a good 110, 120 million consoles lifetime, easily. But they didn't. They put roadblocks on, and they got high on the hog, and then they felt themselves pause, and then they asked it the dumb shit while they going to force gamers to have a connect when The Kinect was a wonderful idea and a wonderful peripheral to have, but you should make it optional because people wanted to just get the console and turn it on and get stuff going. You already would have had the problems of dealing with Windows 8 and all that other stuff in between. But people would have been cool because you would have had a console that was the same price as a PlayStation, and then people would have been like, okay, when my next income tax or when I get up on some extra money, I'll get that Kinect 2.0. Nope, got greedy, and we all know that story. Like, again, so I just look, what Ross say, we knew, blame the black woman for Xbox downfall. Bruh, man, these grifters is wild, bruh. And they're bold. They're real bold. Now since they got nominated, they real bold. They going after Grand Theft Auto 6. Now that's one of the biggest L's that they gonna take because you're not gonna stop that juggernaut. And like I said, I wasn't only gonna buy just one. I was just gonna wait for the PC version of Grand Theft Auto 6 because I'm pretty sure the console version is gonna play like mud until they patch it up enough. So I mean, we'll probably be looking at almost close to a half a year before they patch it up probably. But yeah, I mean, the game could probably run good and solid. I ain't worried about the 30 frames per second thing. That's fine with me. I'm just knowing a game like that dropping on the hardware like that, woof. I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, Rockstar is our rock stars for real. So, but I'm gonna buy all three versions. I'm getting the PlayStation version, getting the Xbox version, I'm getting the PC version when it drops a year later. Happily, because they're making. It's kind of slated to be in Miami, I believe. That's what Miami looks like. What are you talking? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not doing that. I did that little crazy rant the other day. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to move on to what Sean Layton was talking about. But yeah, no, I think it's pretty crazy. There was another thing. Sean Layton was bringing up the thing about the consoles and how they are and how they're probably going to have to be extended or that they're capped at their power. Because, I mean, again, we know this. If anybody who is paying attention to what the PC is pumping out, man, what AMD, what NVIDIA, and what Intel is dropping with their GPUs, man, consoles, if they dare want to try to touch this, like, it will be nuts. It will be nuts. And so Sean Layton said that the consoles are, he says the consoles are now close to final specs for what a console should be. He says he also brought up about PlayStation games won't make sense being on Xbox, which I for what PlayStation wants to hold on to, I believe that. But for what the reality of how the gaming industry is going to change, PlayStation is going to succumb to the throat needle. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're not going to be as happy go lucky as Xbox is about like, hey, get it here and announce it when you're not even letting Xbox gamers get a good taste in their mouth of feeling that they got an exclusive, knowing that we knew that Indiana Jones was going to go to PlayStation at some point, but didn't let us even have a moment to sit there and say, PlayStation fans. I didn't like that. I hope next time when they get another big game that's under their umbrella, hold it and don't talk about releasing it until after it releases on Xbox first, please. Let's have a moment of sitting there just kind of sipping on our tea or whatever, and water, or or you sipping on adult beverage or something, adult milk. You know what I'm saying? Let us have that shine for a minute. You didn't give us no time. I mean, we were sitting there happy and everything about it in June. Hell, in August, here we go. I was so disappointed. I didn't even, you know what? I was so mad. I didn't even watch any of Gamescom after that. I was hot. I was like, how are y'all going to sit there and just tell us that this game is already coming to PlayStation and we don't even have the game yet? What? Okay. All right. I'm moving on from that. But anyway, so I posted this on Twitter X, and I said, listen, consoles will be cheaper. Consoles will be cheaper when you see console prices not really going down in the past and having a price tag of $700. And some gamers have issues playing games at 30 frames per second. I feel more gamers will wait it out and still play off of the old hardware. And that's what I said in my opinion. And I do believe that. Like we're seeing that now. The PlayStation 4 is still highly relevant. And because the PlayStation 5 hasn't really gone down. Like I think that you get Black Friday, I'm sure that they sold really well because there was some places where they were $345. But that PlayStation Pro ain't moving like that. Like we know that. They know that. What's going on with your Megatron? I know, brother. I'm here. I'm doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Tell the Xbox fam I said hello. Tell your fam I said hello. How you doing? I ain't talked to you in a while. I'm gonna have to give you a call, brother. Hope everything is doing good. But yeah, this is why I sit there and I made this point of view. I said this earlier where I thought that the consoles were going to be long, were going to stay out longer this time around. And then I backtracked on it because I thought, since they're supposed to be Xbox is supposed to be coming out in 2026. Well, I mean, these consoles is not going down. And again, what PlayStation did, PlayStation is smart about how they operate, right? Like they sit there and they put out this $700 console, and eventually it's going to go down to probably around 500 at some point, maybe 6. It's going to go down to 6 at least. How much do you think the new PlayStation is going to cost? How much do you think the new Xbox is going to cost? Especially for the stuff that we keep asking. On GRG years ago, we all said, you got to pay to play. You want the best of the best, you're going to have to pay for it. Now, consoles will never catch PC ever again. It's just not going to happen. And if they do, if they went to where I thought was a great idea, is where they were going to make they were going to supposed to be there was a rumor that the Xbox was going to have interchangeable parts to where you can upgrade it over time. I still believe that that's a really genius idea for the people that are, frames per second, nuts, and people who want that type of power. And if you could implement like something that Xbox can provide, like they did with the not the hard drive, but the memory card that Xbox has, yeah, it'll be expensive. But if you have different tiers to pay for what you want, that makes your Xbox a lot more expensive. I mean, that makes it more to your liking. People will pay for what they want. There will be more gamers, of course, that will be content with whatever that they got for that. But again, the new Xbox is not going to be cheap. And PlayStation's kind of already set the bar with a $700 console. And I've always said like $600 consoles was the magic number. And then you start seeing people saying, nah, man, this is wild. Now, there are people that bought the $700, but nowhere near what you think it is. And there's not going to be a lot of people that's going to buy a $700, $800 Xbox. So the 2026 is most likely going to be this handheld. And then we'll see what the new Xbox is going to be, unless it's some kind of hybrid that's been rumored as well. And I don't know, can't wait to find out more about this. But what I need to see is how gamers are going to react to when to when, let's just say, and I'm just going off of what the president-elect said, talking about tariffs. Well, that $700 PlayStation Pro is going to be more than that going forward. The new consoles is going to be more than that going forward. And don't get this twisted about how Take-Two does things. I would not be. They've hinted to it. I don't know. The economy is it's revving up. It's doing really good, even though people are saying eggs is doing this and that, but people still going on vacation, whatever. That's a whole other topic. But if Take-Two can sit there and really make that move of bringing the first $80 game standard. Take-Two can do that. They got the clout to do it, and they'll sell the game the people will sell because people will buy it. People will buy it. There are three games that Take-Two can do that with. That's Grand Theft Auto, NBA 2K, and Red Dead. Those three games. And there could be a fourth in there. Viper said GTA 6 is going to be 350% higher, bro. Yeah, oh, he said $350. But listen, no, now because digital is different. So people, more people buy more digital. I think it's like 92% now of gamers buy digital. It's like 90 some percent. So how people buy digital. Remember how that crazy stuff was? I know that there's still people that love hard copy games, but I mean, yeah, the people who would suffer the most if these tariffs are for real is the people who like hard copy anything. So again, I I don't understand. Listen, if PlayStation is if the rumor is true about PlayStation prolonging the PlayStation 5 because of the PlayStation Pro and stuff like that, okay, that's fine, that's well and good. Eventually the PlayStation will go down in price to where more gamers will be in, and maybe they've seen something, especially like how the sales uptick some for the PlayStation 4, and they realize that there's more players that's playing on the PlayStation 4 than there are on the PlayStation 5, which means generations don't matter, but regardless. So that to me is where the whole line is where people, how much money are you willing to spend, gamers? Yeah, Richily, Windows is getting worse, and Steam OS is on the horizon. I've seen that Xbox is over here doing something with the what is that? Battle.net, like BattleNet. I mean, BattleNet, or is Battle.net? I can't remember what exactly how it is, but that Blizzard launcher, Xbox is doing some more stuff with that. I mean, like, Xbox is trying to find something to talk that line. Listen, and again, it's like I said the other day, if you was a fan of Lena Khan or not, her reign is over. And Xbox is going to have a green light to do whatever they want to do. And I said the end game for them is Steam. You all you got to do is just get Steam, leave Steam the way it is, and just put your launcher in there. You're golden, and you can implement what you're doing with the what is this thing called? It's just called the Xbox whatever PC thing or whatever. Yeah, you just implement that puppy in there into the OS of Steam. You go leave Steam alone, and you're golden. You don't need to do anything else. And like I said, I do feel that that's the end game. They would run the game. They would run the game. There would be no stopping them. There would be no stopping them at all. And I think I think it would be a brilliant move. But of course, that's down the line. We'll see what they'll do. Um, I just don't. If the consoles are going to be capped and for so much power, and gamers are demanding for power, but again, gamers, we asked for this. That's why I spoke with my wallet. Yeah, my wallet was crying. Like, I was like, God damn, this shit is hot. But I was sitting there saying, like, man, look, I want to speak with my wallet. I want to see what this power is about, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. If you looked at my stats, I'm still a console gamer first. I put more time in my console than I did my PC, but I played a lot on my PC. Man, for the last couple of days, I mean, I sit there and I've been playing Tekken like crazy for the last week and a half now. And so I'm on my PC trying to build my characters up on Tekken. And man, I enjoy the experience. I definitely enjoy it, but I still enjoy my console. I bought another copy of Suicide Squad because I mean it was like $4.99. You can't beat that. Suicide Squad is not a bad game at all. It might not be what you wanted from Rocksteady, but it's not a bad game at all. It's fun as hell, especially if you play it with friends. Or randoms. If you know what I'm saying, if the randoms play good, man, it's fun as hell. That's a fun game. I mean, for $4.99, $3.99, you can't go wrong with at least giving it a try. I mean, come on. So, but anyway, but back to that point, I just think that honestly, what we see going forward with gaming is that even PlayStation is even understanding. Like Sean Layton is understanding. Like, look, man. Consoles can never get to that level of what the PC is doing. At some point, too, cell phones, mobile is going to surpass console. Because you know why? People are willing to pay $2,000 for $2,500 for a phone, but they're not willing to pay $2,000 for a console. That's the difference. So streaming becomes highly important. On top of that, games as a service becomes highly important. Game Pass becomes very, very important. These are all moves that, listen, the more and more we get into it, especially if these tariffs really are coming to hit us, games not so much if you go digital, unless, I mean, if we're talking about $80 games, man, I mean, look, we haven't seen games that high as a standard since we're going back to the 90s when there were Japanese imports. Like those games were anywhere from $70 to $140. I remember seeing my very first $100 game, and it was a Japanese game. I couldn't remember what game it was. It looked it looked dope as hell on the box. And I remember I asked my mom, and she was like, "Put that down." And that's all she said. She gave me the look and told me to put it down, and I did. And I never went back to even look at that game because I knew I never would get it. So I can tell you what the game was. It had a gold. It was gold. Had a gold box and blue lettering, and it was like Zelda. It wasn't Zelda, but because it was a place. It wasn't a PlayStation. I'm sorry. It was a Nintendo game. It was a Nintendo game. Because we was at this is when Super Walmarts were the big thing. They first started just popping up, and I remember going up there and just having a field day playing on those the Nintendo kiosks, and then I seen that they had like all these type of games. And then when I went to Toys R Us as a kid, I remember seeing there was more Japanese imports, but I didn't even have that. There was no way I was going to ask my mom or my grandma or grandpa for like, nah, ain't no way. So I already knew when I asked the first time, and it was close to Christmas. So I knew I didn't see it at Christmas. I knew better. So Santa Claus didn't like me that much. So it's just what it is. Viper saying play anywhere in Steam. Richilli, he says we asked for a locked 60 frames per second with current consoles, with current gen graphics, not 720, 30 frames per second with the last gen textures. Brother, you're not going to get, you're going to continuously get that. Even with PlayStation giving you this what is it? The whatever that thing is called. Their version of the frame rate thing, you still getting what? 480p. It ain't gonna happen for you on no consoles, brother. And then because if you get every game in 60 frames per second, if you get every game for 60 frames per second, great. But you're not getting those games in no 4K. It's not happening. Not without some major chopping for what they got to do to that game, especially if they have a vision for what they want to do with that game. No, it's not ever happening on consoles. It don't matter unless you got to pay to play. That's why I thought that when the rumors about bringing in a console to where you can add interchangeable parts into it to where you like it, that's when, and then that would be perfect because the console, I'm just going to speak it on Xbox term. Xbox don't have to listen to the bitching because it's up to the consumer at that point to make the decision of what you want to get. So, Richilli, if you're saying that this is what you want and they come out with a new Xbox and the new Xbox is $700, but it's got interchangeable parts and also you got the handheld that's dockable or whatever, that's sold separately, whatever it's going to be. And you go and you try to get, and you got interchangeable parts to where you can get whatever you want, however you want it. That's on you at that point because Xbox is at least providing it. Or if PlayStation make a move like that, then PlayStation doesn't have to answer to anything about any complaining because listen, they got an option for you. Xbox is going to give you an option. Nintendo is the ones that's not going to give you no options. They're going to give you what they tell you they're going to give you, and you're going to like it. So. So again, you got to pay to play. And that's why I said, look, I'm just going to talk with my wallet. I'm not going to sit here and bitch and complain about because I don't care about 30 frames per second like that. But I do understand a certain, like, again, I don't know how Wukong Black Myth is going to play on Xbox. I don't know. I know that Xbox is going to make sure that that's the reason why it gets delayed the way it is, or I know that there was the rumor that Sony did a deal or whatever. I have no idea. I think that Xbox is just pretty damn stickler about wanting to not have another Redfall moment, even with games that they don't even own. They just want games to be played properly because Xbox get enough scrutiny as it is. So I don't know how it's going to play, but I know playing it on Xbox, playing it on PC, playing Wukong on PC, that shit was slapping. That's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm gonna get back to showing my second playthrough, streaming wise here this week, and man, love it. So when I'm playing it on the Xbox, I'm like, because I'm gonna pick it up again, and it might be, but you know what? You know what I'll do? You know what I do? If it's a Play Anywhere title, bruh, if it's a Play Anywhere title, it's gonna be played on my PC. I ain't gonna lie about it. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you, fam. Rick Chili, he says ray tracing is and slander. It ruined gaming. You know what? Thank you so much for the super chat. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. My ass need to get back into doing this content create. Thank you so much. Like ray tracing, but again, ray tracing only works. See, okay, like for instance, I have Alan Wake 2 on PC. That game is a monster. It makes my 4080 does some man. I went in full max, like, because I've been putting in games at full max, settings, blah blah blah. Because and if I'm hitting over 60 frames per second, I'm cool. That's those PC nerds that go crazy. Hell up, I'm good. If I'm playing at 70, 80 frames per second, and I got max settings, I'm straight. Let's go. With Alan Wake 2, now it might be patched better now. I'll go back. I haven't played it in a while. But I'll go, but when I went and played, man, I've said max settings, man, my PC was screaming. Like, if you don't turn this shit down now, you don't have a 4090 sucker. You got a 4080. You got a 4080 whatever. And I don't do no overclocking on this thing. It's supposed to be specialized for overclocking. Nope, I don't do it. I'm straight standard. I paid too much money. Well, I got a really good deal on it, I told it before, but I still paid too much money for it to be shaking and baking. No. So I turned some settings down, and I realized I realized at that point, like, because when I put everything in max, I was getting like 20 frames per second, but I had everything. I had ray tracing, ultra, everything. I had post processing at max. I said, let's turn it all up and let's see. Man, that naked ass dude coming out of the water, and man, and I said, my God, these graphics is stupid. And then when they ran out and had the flashlight right in the beginning of the game, and they did the flashlights, and all of a sudden, it looked like one of them dudes that was running off with the flashlight, started doing the hammer dance, and yeah, bro, no. Things was not going well after that. Not going well. So I turned a couple of things down. I said, all right, let's do this. Sir X-Men says, what the heck are you doing on this late? Bro, I had an epiphany. I said I wanted to talk about this, and I promised that I was going to be coming back to doing more content, and I had the wild hair up my tail. Pause, and I said, let's do it right now. I want to do it here at 10 o'clock because I wanted to also have some gameplay of Indiana Jones, but I still got to wait for my code to come in so I can play the early access. But whatever. But yeah, no. So I'm just jumping in. Having a good time. Want to talk a little bit. Want to talk to the gaming family. But anyway, all that other stuff being said, like going back to that point about the consoles being capped. You're not ever going to avoid the lower frame rates because of the fact that these games are so demanding. Expedition 33, I can't. That's one of my most anticipated games going into next year. Man, I can't imagine what that game is going to play like. Well, it says it's like a hybrid between a turn-based and live action, I guess. So that game could run pretty damn bad unless it's kind of just a slow type of game. That's why I was like, oh, turn-based will be perfect because you ain't got to worry about, moving around, flipping, and all that other stuff. But we'll see. All I want is a really good quality game experience to where the frames are steady, even if it's at 30 frames per second. Except on my PC, I demand better. I paid for better. So that's what I want. consoles, I'm way more lenient about it because, hey, $500 console compared to a $2,000, a $2,200 PC. That's that. You know what I'm saying? No, I expect different. And so when people are over here expecting 4070 type of quality from a $700 console, you ain't getting that. They lied to you. But again, it's still a problem because you want to believe that it's going to give you the quality of a 720 and it's 4070, and it's not. It's just not. And it is what it is. So when these new consoles come out, and if they're going to be around that same price of $700, Chili and others, you're going to have to really just deal with the pain of dealing with more 30 frames per second games, unless these developers really make a stand on not wanting to do ray tracing. Because I know that ray tracing is a ridiculous resource haul. It is no question. On top of ray tracing and Unreal Engine 5, they'll iron it out for what, because I remember that Unreal Engine 4 was getting a lot of flack in the beginning as well. But, you know, it'll take a little time for the kinks to get ironed out in the Unreal Engine 5. But when you got all of those resources pulling, like games are just not going to give you that frames per second output unless you've got to pay the money for it. And so I do agree with Sean Layton on that. I do not agree with him that he says that Xbox wouldn't won't put PlayStation games on Xbox. I do agree. I do think that they eventually will. Not everything. I think that they'll PlayStation will have a red line. But I think that if, let's say, the Horizon games, because that new Horizon game that's on Nintendo, it just isn't selling well. It's doing awful. And also, if you think about this too, Astrobot is going to be named for Game of the Year with less than 2 million sold. Sales don't matter to that degree. I mean, it looks like a really fun game, and a lot of people that's played it said it's a great, fantastic game. So that's not the point. The thing to me is that if this game is that high tier, that's high standard, why is it that there's not enough PlayStation fans to want to buy that game? And I'm sure that game came. I know I've seen it. It was discounted. So hopefully it sold more than the 1.8 that I seen just a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago. So I just trying to figure out, like, PlayStation at some point is going to have to understand, like, day and date for PC and maybe putting games on different platforms is going to benefit them. Xbox is just doing it first. And it's going to benefit Xbox going forward, while PlayStation still wants to hold on to the old ways of how people have always perceived gaming to be. Xbox is trying to kill that. And so since they couldn't kill them the old way, the old traditional way, they said, we got another angle for you. We'll seem to play nice, but they're not playing nice. It's just the reality of it. Anyway, Detroit is 12-1. I know Detroit is 12-1. That's all right. You know what I'm saying? Did you see my Thunder beat down on the Raptors tonight, Sir X-Man? You know what I'm saying? Did you see that? Man, when Chet comes back, and when Big J Will comes back, and you know what I'm saying, and Caruso is healthy. Man, when my Thunder is fully healthy, I can't wait for the Mavericks game Tuesday to see who's going to get to the cup. I mean, it's still going to be a tough game because, you know what I'm saying, it's still going to be a tough game. But I can't wait to see the Thunder at full strength. That's going to be some scary stuff on the court. I am very, very stoked about my OKC Thunder. Anyway, I am not stoked about I'm happy about now that my OU Sooners season is over and we beat Alabama. We beat the brakes off of Alabama, and now we have a new quarterback. So that's sports talk for another day. But anyway, my last part is going to talk about Indiana Jones and seeing that that's getting a lot of. You said Michael Turner says be aggressive in a new way of business. That's right. That's all. You should love basketball, Sir X-Man. Basketball's great. Richie says, listen, I want Final Fantasy VII Part 2 win Game of the Year. I want the pony singing for 2 hours straight. But at the end of the show, golf. It goes up on stage. One more thing. Final Fantasy 7, 1, 2, 4. 1 through 4 will be day one on Game Pass. Brother. Well, let me tell you this for one. This is a Keeley show. So you're not going to get anything Xbox related to in his show. That's the problem. Now, it has got to be at the beginning or it's got to be closer to the end. Because trust and believe, if it ain't Kojima, it's some PlayStation that's going to get, and he does this with everything that he does. PlayStation always get it. No other game. PlayStation gets, no other company. PlayStation gets the last word of the night on his shows, on every show, unless it's Kojima. And since Kojima is mostly a PlayStation guy, that's fine with him. So you know how Keeley works. Sir X-Man, yeah, I did speak on that a little bit, like when I went through and was looking at the nominations the other day. And I did bring that up that college football is not is not nominated for best sports game. It is the best sports game. Like it is the best sports game. NCAA football is absolutely fantastic. It is so good, so good, so good. That was my number one played game. And I put in work on games. I put in some time on some games, man. Like, I've never played I would say 3 RPGs back to back to back. I've never done that. I've always had to take a break because if I'm playing a game that's 100 plus hours or whatever, I always take a break because I'm like, yo, all right, nope. During this break, I sit there and this hiatus that I needed this break for try to get gather my mind and stuff. I just was like, I just played Shattered Spaces. And I had COD in between, but still, Shattered Spaces, Metaphor, and Dragon Age Veilguard, all like just back to back. Well, especially Metaphor and Veilguard. Like, I mean, Shattered Spaces, I played it later. I didn't play it day one. I started day one, but I didn't play it day one. I played it later. And so, like, all in October, I just played that. The only thing in between that I played was Call of Duty. That's it. I've never done that. I've never played like RPGs that consistently at one time. But I mean, they were also different from one another. Starfield definitely is different from Metaphor. Metaphor is definitely different from Veilguard, from Dragon Age. So, and I was entertained. That was fun. I was cool with it. I've never done that before, but I was like, okay, all right. So that was pretty cool. So, I mean, there's just so much to play. Having a good time. Like, I started up Stalker, but it needed to be patched. So I heard that they dropped the patch. So I'll probably start that. That'll be one of those games that I'll start a little bit later. I'm looking forward to seeing what Indiana Jones is about. What's going on with you, Beasley? He said, what up? He says, have you played the first Kingdom Come game? No, I have not played the Kingdom Come games. I have not played them yet. And the second one really intrigues me. I've heard really good things about it. I just haven't played it. I've never played it. So, I know that the other one is coming out here. I mean, that's like the Wuxia game, the Origins. That looks fantastic. That's coming out here in the beginning of the year of next year. Of course, South of Midnight comes later. That's another one of my most anticipated games. Avowed's going to be coming. I'm looking forward to that. At first, I wasn't even caring about Avowed. I was like, I'll play it. I mean, it's going to be on Game Pass. I'm cool with that. But now, I think it's because they did the flip of the you could do the 3D. You could get, not the back version. You could sit there and you could pull the camera back and look at the character. I like that. See, that gave me a whole different perspective of how to want to play that. So I'm intrigued on that. There was another game that's coming out here in the beginning of the month. I mean, beginning of next month, and I can't put my finger on what the name of the game is right now. But yeah, and then there's just a bunch of sleepers that's out there that's supposed to be coming out in next year too. I posted one game. Let me go to it right here. Looks really dope. Matter of fact, I think I'll. Uh, it's called The Hidden Ones. It looks fantastic. It looks really, really good. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can pull this up right fast before I get ready to get out of here. Let's see. Let me try to remember all this stuff. I haven't done this stuff in a minute. Okay, hold on. Uh, oh yeah, that's the old stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, I haven't. I gotta. It can't pull that up for me for some reason. Okay. All right. Well, it's called The Hidden Ones, but it looks really dope. I Oh no, it's here. It is right here. Okay. Okay. It just said it said something else. That's pretty weird. Okay. Whatever. Let's see. Let you see it. Let me pull this down a little bit. So let you see the whole screen. All right. This looks really dope. It looks like Sifu, like an anime show. Man, this is dope looking. So I would put it full screen, but of course I would be blocking it with my big head. So I'm not going to just let you see it from that. But yeah, man, this looks fantastic. It's supposed to be slated to come out next year. I hope it does. Matter of fact, the demo comes out on PC real soon, like I think in a week or so. So I'm on it. I'm on that. Like whenever they dropping this, I'm copying. Wait till you see this combat. Like you'll see that it's really familiar to Sifu. And so, like, yeah, this man, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about here. I ain't worried about all this other stuff, man, that you people be tripping about. Like, man, just give me these games. I just want to be entertained. Look at this. What is a Blossom Mirage? Look at that, man. Look at this. Wait till you get to this combat. Like, he gonna meet this dude up in the alley. I mean, in this area. Oh shit, he said, I didn't even remember that part. Oh, that's funny. Look at that, man. Boy, look at that. And well, I don't know what this dude done, but they on his ass for real. Yeah, Xbox, you got to get this. I know this is only going to be coming on PC for right now. I'm sure that this will eventually come on PlayStation. You're gonna have to bring this to Xbox. Come on now, you got. It's called The Hidden Ones. Go talk to them. Go talk to these devs. We need it. We need it. I need it. We need it. And Beasley said you spoke. Oh, you okay? What's going on with you, Beasley? What's happening with you, brother? Yeah. Yeah, no, we sit there and we talked about it about like the ending. Like you said, I said I was gonna make my second playthrough, and I was gonna play as the mage because I played as the warrior. I always play as a warrior, but man, look at this combat. Like, and now you see what I'm talking about. Like, look at this. Man, I need it now. Give it to me now. Ooh, bruh. Hold on, let me see if I can put this sound. No, I ain't gonna put the sound on here because you just never know copyright and stuff like that. But look at this, man. This looks so cold. I don't know if this is from an anime or is this a new made something, but this is dope. What in this looks real good. What you guys think? You think Kingdom Come Deliverance is going to destroy everything out there, bro? I am. I'll play the first one. I will give the first one a chance. I just haven't played it, and like I said, I just it most likely when I see a game that may have my interest, there's usually another game that came out around that time that I really enjoyed more, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to it at some other point in time. Yeah. Boss Trials. Look at this, man. And I'm wondering. I mean, if I'm looking at the lettering, it looks like this is a Chinese game because that looks like Cantonese, doesn't it? So yeah, I don't know. And if this is a Chinese game, man, these Chinese developers and they made really good games, but those games are budgeted. So like, you just don't, they're very kind of low profile type games. I've been playing these type of games for a minute, not like this, but other type of games. But man, I'm telling you, the Chinese gaming division out there, man, are coming with some heat. This looks dope. Come on, man, you got to be kidding me. Looking forward to now see, that's another one of my most anticipated games. See, I was preparing myself to play Shadows, to play Assassin's Creed Shadows in October. Like that was supposed to be everything. That was kind of the start of my going to my hiatus because people know me. If I get locked up into a game, that's it. And so I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm not tripping. Now hold up. Now is this a fighting game too? So you mean to tell me it's got a story mode and it's got a versus mode? Oh my, bro. Nah. Day one, Ultimate Edition. Stop playing with me now. Where's the pre-order? I go ahead and I get it popping. Oh my goodness. Man, look at this cup. This doesn't look fire. Oh, look. Oh, man, this looks clean. Yeah, this game, yeah, February is going to be real rough. Yeah, like the challenge is going to be playing with Sasuke because he's going to be a bruiser, and I like people that's kind of quick and fast. So Naori, I think that's how you say her name, is would be more of my speed. But of course I'm going to play with Sasuke, so I'm going to get there. Man, this is tough. This is tough. I want it. I want it now. Oh man, it's over with. Yeah, it's done. Good God, that looked fantastic. Anyway, guys, thank you. I know that it was a late stream for me, but you know what? Sometimes I might just get the verge to want to just do these type of things at night. Of course, I want to try to have a set pattern when I do my thoughts. So my thought video. So maybe I might do a day one and then do a night one. Just let me know in the comments if you would be down for that. But I really do appreciate you guys coming through. It was fun. But I had to get that off my chest. I mean, there's a lot of times that I want to say stuff and I'll be in here talking to myself and my wife was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, man, I'm thinking about this situation, blah, 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 blah. And then said, she knows she ain't in the gaming like I am. She's like, oh, well, talk away. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to y'all about it, get it off my chest. So thank you guys so much, man. I really do appreciate it. Yes. They said they butchered the name, Yasuke, Sasuke. Yeah, it's supposed to be Yasuke, right? Now, listen, don't let me be country. You know how I'll butcher a name, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's foreign. I'll butcher it. I'll do it. But I thought I got his name right. But anyway, Yasuke, whatever. So just let me know in the comment section if I got it wrong. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like if you're new to the channel, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming on through, McNasty. Hopefully we'll have some more conversations on Blue Sky. I'm also on Blue Sky as well. If you want to come out there, it's really peaceful over there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay on Twitter X. You know what I'm saying? I've invested too much time into Twitter X, so I'll be there, even though it has become sometimes unbearable. But you know what I'm saying? But that's the benefits of of going some place where it's a lot more safe and calm to just talk with people and have conversation again, instead of having to get into this mode of being an asshole back to people because people want to be assholes to you. Like it used to be about conversation, having a different set of opinions, but like now, like I said, coming in 2025, I'll be on my demon art. You coming at me with some craziness, I'm coming right back with you to it. It ain't gonna be no being subtle, I'm gonna dog your ass just like you coming at me. No doubt about it. So that's why Blue Sky, I'll be back to where I was when I was on Twitter, when I first got on Twitter. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you have not subscribed, share this out. Let them know that I'm coming back here. Fight Night Sunday will return this coming up Sunday night. I will make a conscious effort to start doing Fight Night a lot earlier. Because I just think I just think that I just need to do that. And then, there'll be some of those nights where I can have people with me. I might not have anybody, but then if I'm just by myself and if I'm vibing and doing really well by just having a good night, Fight Night can go all night long. Sometimes Fight Night could last 2 hours. Fight Night is just in between. Fight Night is just Fight Night. We're just playing all different types of fighters and having a good time doing it. And then, like I said, just more content before I take my hiatus for my vacation coming up here right after Christmas, and then I'll be back and getting ready for a new venture. Please come check out the last episode of the GRG podcast Friday night. After we'll be talking whoever won and everything about gaming and having a good time. Of course, reminiscing with the people that's been a part of GRG and just the long all the years that we've done stuff together. And it'll just be a fun and a good proper signed off to a podcast. I never thought that would last as long as it did. Over 350 episodes. That lasts more than some shows. So I'm very happy about that. So yeah, it'll be a proper signed off. So it'll be good. Yes, I'm going all night long. No pause. I'm going to let her know. Thank you, Viper. All right, guys, y'all have a good night. I'm out. Peace. Oh, man.